And you're live, Rudy.
Good evening. I'm Rudy Westervelt. I'm a member of the Rotary E-Club of World Peace, and glad to you join us tonight. And tonight I'm going to share a little bit about peace building and Rotary and how Rotary connects the world together to create peace in the world. Rotary was started back in 1905 by Paul Harris up in Chicago, Illinois, USA. And he started that to bring together leaders, business leaders, and community leaders in Chicago to work together to do service work in Chicago. That now has grown into a massive organization, which I believe is the most respected humanitarian organization in the world, with 1.2 million Rotarians reaching across every country and territory nearly on our planet in 35,000 Rotary clubs. Rotary Club of World Peace happens to be one of nearly 400 that meet online normally on Zoom. We meet weekly on Tuesday evenings, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And I'll share at the end here how you get a hold of us and join us for those meetings. But Rotary, everything we do in Rotary is about peace. Some of that's peace through service, relationships we build, and the value of your vocation. All vocations are important, and how we use our time and talents and treasures to help other people in the world here is amazing, and that's what we do in Rotary. And if you look at Rotary, we have something called the object of Rotary. And again, it's about encouraging and fostering the ideal of service as a worthy enterprise, us serving our communities together with the highest ethical standards. And so when you meet a Rotarian who has a business, we expect them to go by the highest ethical standards in their business and treat all customers well. But important, if you look at number 4 down here in the object of Rotary, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. And that's what we are in Rotary. We also look at one thing that's sort of like the golden rule that Rotarians live by, of the things we think, say, and do. And so each one of these things we challenge ourselves before we speak, before we put something on paper, before we hit send on an email. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned, to everybody who's going to receive this information? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Those are live with us each day of our lives. So how can Rotarians, and how do we as Rotary, what can we do and what do we do to create peace in the world? And I think our signature project out there that started in the mid 80s, around 1985, 86, it was to take on the polio epidemic and wipe it off the planet. There was only one other disease ever eradicated in the world. That was smallpox. And when I was growing up, I was born in 1950. So in the 50s and 60s, there were plenty of children right here in the United States in iron lungs. And even though the shots were coming out, the polio vaccines of Sabin and Salk, we had work to do. And in the mid 80s, there was still a good portion, probably 2/3 of the world, that was still suffering from endemic polio. And Rotarians got together to get immunizations out across the world. And they've done this working with the World Health Organization, UNICEF, Centers for Disease Control out of Atlanta, and now the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has joined us in this fight. And from thousands and thousands of lives crippled and lost every year, we only had last year, this past year, current year we're in, 2 cases of polio in the world. 1 case in Afghanistan and 1 case in Pakistan. This past year, the whole continent of Africa was declared polio endemic free. And we are truly this close to wiping out polio on our planet. But it creates, each of us must get out, immunize our children, immunize children around the world so that this can't come back to America or anywhere else. We need to get the immunizations out there. And this is tough because those 2 countries have a lot of terrorist activity, and it's difficult to get in there and immunize. But even during the COVID-19 pandemic, our healthcare workers are back in working in this area. And because of this, world leaders, when our Rotary International president is out on the road and visiting other countries, is greeted by the prime ministers, presidents, the leaders of all the nations in the world, thanking Rotary for what we are doing now to make the world a better place, a safer place, and eliminating disease. And so this is something that we can be very proud of, and we will finish the job. But we talked about service. When we do a service project, whatever it happens to be, we're working with other people in our communities and our communities around the world. Those relationships create peace. When we're planting trees, when we're digging trenches, when we're digging wells, when we're painting walls, fixing up homes, serving meals, helping the homeless, working at senior centers, distributing masks, serving our healthcare workers who are fighting the pandemic right now. All these service projects lead us to peace because it creates an understanding, not for those who have and have not. We're one humanity together. And when we treat each other as human beings on this planet, it creates peace. And that's why I'm in Rotary. And I know David's on the call with us this evening. That's why he's in Rotary, because we believe in one humanity, as I hope you do as you're watching tonight. One of the other ways we create and use our vocations is called vocational training teams. And so whether you're a healthcare worker, a teacher, whatever profession you're in, those talents are good. So when we go, we send teams to other countries, for instance, down to Haiti. We sent a team of doctors and nurses down to Haiti to teach the doctors and nurses down there how to do pap smears and how to read those and perform surgeries when necessary and operate other equipment. That's just one example. But we send teams out there to train other people on the ground so these projects are sustainable. That creates peace in these worlds. We take our expertise and share it. One of the other ways is something called a Rotary Friendship Exchange. And we invite Rotarians from around the world to travel to another country and spend time with the families, learn the cultures, live in their home, share food, break bread together. Whether you're from Brazil coming to the United States going to Russia, or going to Europe or somewhere else in the world, as we share in our homes who we are as human beings and create friendships, it really makes a huge change out there and great understanding versus what happens on our television channel. So turn off your TV, join Rotary, and join us in here to just get together and learn why we need to be friends on the planet. Annually in Rotary, we hold something called a Rotary International Convention. One of those happens each year somewhere in the world. I've shown you a few pictures here when during my year when I was Rotary District Governor, we were over in Korea, in Seoul, in Atlanta in 2017. Then you can see we hopped over here to Toronto and then Hamburg. The last 2 years, unfortunately, because of COVID, have been virtual from Honolulu and Taipei, Taiwan. But when 30,000 to 40,000 Rotarians from all over the world come together, there's no better place to learn together, to share experiences together, develop projects so we can help each other in our communities, and learn and accept each other as human beings, one human beings on this planet. I had the opportunity when I was Rotary District Governor in 2015-16 for our district here in Southern California to be the convener for the Rotary World Peace Conference 2016, which became one of the presidential peace conferences for that year. We had about 150 speakers, over 100 breakout sessions, and these speakers came in with solutions to major issues of conflict that were happening in our homes, communities, and our schools, in religion and politics, in healthcare, trauma therapy, a variety of things out there, human trafficking. We touched on major issues out there to learn from and take back with solutions, not just talk the problems, but bring in the solutions. One of the other ways we created peace was we had a music uh, uh, performance, a peace conference or a peace concert ending this, and we brought over a group of violinists, uh, virtuosos from Yakutsk, from Siberia, that came over and performed. World-class performers performed for us, and also they were able to stay in Rotarians' homes here, and that connection between us and our brothers and sisters in Russia was very life changing for everybody here in Warming. We again repeated that 4 years later. Fortunately, it was in January 2020, just pre-pandemic, here in Southern California. And again, we brought together almost 1,500 individuals, went to this conference to learn from each other and take back solutions to major issues in their community to reapply. But these were just a couple of the things we do to create peace in the world. These aren't the only peace conferences happening. And so these are things that we pull together at these conferences and in our work, is not to give a hand out, but it's to give a hand up. Grab each other, hold your hand, let's go along together on a path that leads us both to a better life. I'll get to our Peace Fellows in a little bit, but we've also had some, in the last 2 years, we just finished one up here about a week ago, a global peace conference, and that was put on by our Rotary Peaceful Alumni Association. That was 24 hours around the clock with speakers and presenters taking on some major issues in peace. And again, people joined us from all over the world, like we are today with this Unity Week. It's joining together, connecting for good in the world. And that's where we are in Rotary. And certainly this one happened in 2020. And again, this was a world after a great pause. One of the other things that creates peace that we have in one of our programs is Rotary Youth Exchange. We actually are probably the largest organization that does youth exchange on the planet. And so what happens around the world, if we have a young person here, they can get sponsored in high school to go spend a school year with another family in another country. It could be in Italy, France, it could be South America, wherever it happens to be. They learn the language, they learn the customs, they become part of that family. The reverse is true. We receive young people into our homes, come here to the United States, and can share with us. They're almost like another child in our family here. They learn English, they learn their culture, and this experience that creates lifetime relationships that will grow up with them to look at the world as connected. We not only learn from them, they learn that this is one world and there are good people on both sides, and we're just human beings working together. Back in 1945, at the end of the Second World War, there were nearly 50 Rotarians, many of them lawyers, were part of the team up in San Francisco that developed the charter for the United Nations. And we've been associated with the United Nations as Rotary International since its forming in 1945. And so we annually have a Rotary Day at the UN. We are deeply involved with UNESCO in the education side. UNICEF, of course, because they help us with the medications we get out there for polio eradication, as well as a source for other vaccines and drugs that we can help get out in the world. Certainly, World Health Organization is very connected with us. Our mapping with our polio eradication efforts have been used with the World Health Organization and other countries to help fight COVID-19 because it's so well connected out there with our global polio eradication efforts. The refugee group is one that we're very strong involved with, and certainly today with the many refugees, millions and millions, I think 30 million refugees out there now because of conflict, and that's increasing because of global warming and climate change. We're just seeing the number of refugees continue to grow. We are directly involved with refugees and helping them in these refugee camps and working with them to get them, restore their lives and get them the supplies they need and get them back in the world. Food and Ag organization, we are very involved with because we know that as population grows and another billion people are going to come on the planet, Rotarians need to be involved to make sure they have clean water, sanitation, and food on the table as well as a roof over their head every day. And so we are very involved with the latest crops out there being grown that fit in, especially now with global warming and the arid climates, what needs to happen out there for us to help continue to feed the world. A World Bank we're connected with. We were just at a Rotary director on a meeting last night who worked with the World Bank. And they make very large direct payments out to the world to take on some of these problems, and we partner with them quite often. We are very aligned as Rotarians with sustainable development goals. We have, with our focus on, I'll cover in a second here, on our areas of focus, fit in very closely with the SDGs, and we expect that we've already figured out how we align with those and help support those out of the UN, and certainly the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And at one time, we actually had Rotary clubs down in Cuba, and we hope to get back there again. But on one convention down in Cuba before we left Cuba, Rotarians actually developed a statement on human rights that was modified and put into this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And so we've been part of the UN since day one. One of the other ways we stay in touch with the UN is something called our representatives network to the United Nations. This happens to be from 2014-15, but every year, about 30 individuals from around the world, Rotarians, are selected by the Rotary International president to represent us on different committees at the UN. We have one that's called a dean, that person's role, but we have, as you can see here, about 8 or 9 at the UN in New York, in Geneva, part of the Arab League, in Vienna. Regional commissions, we're part of UNESCO, UNEP, UN Habitat, the Commonwealth, the Council of Europe, FAO, OAS, the World Bank at large in DC, because we need to have a presence around our Congress, and the EU. And so, and now recently, we're also have one of our Peace Fellows, Alumni, who is part of the UN Women's area and taking on our issues and supporting women's rights around the world. So we're in some new territory here that continues to grow with close relationship and respect at the United Nations. I mentioned that we have areas of focus, and we have something called a Rotary Foundation. So we run our clubs, everything happens from our 35,000 Rotary clubs, but then our donations to the Rotary Foundation help fund grants out there to do good work and create peace in the world. And all these relate to peace. We have one that's on peacebuilding and conflict prevention. There's another on disease prevention and treatment, and certainly polio falls into that. Water and sanitation, because we know that people need water and sanitation. And for instance, over in Lebanon, they've had a third of their population is refugees. And that increase, in order to help children go to school, the refugee children, particularly the girl child, they put 1,500 water stations and bathrooms in schools in Lebanon so the refugee children could go to school. So water and sanitation is very key. And I know one of our major grants happening is to a major project down in Haiti, is to have clean water and sanitation for every citizen of Haiti. It's a 10-year project going on right now. Maternal and children's health, because we know that if we take care of the mother and deal with the child, they'll grow up into a healthy child, and we'll save more mothers' lives, especially in childbirth, and making sure they have the right foods and vitamins. Educational literacy. When we know the 1/7 of the world's population is illiterate, we know we have plenty of work to do, and it's hard to create peace without literacy. And so we're very involved in making sure we support schools with the right technology, the right books, the right laptops, and different things out there across the world here, and make sure they're connected, even with the internet in some places across Africa and other areas. We support those things so they can be on and study and learn the latest in education. Economic development. We do micro lending to kickstart businesses in a variety of parts of the world. whether that's training some women to do sewing or different things there. Perhaps it's planting fruit trees for them to harvest in their own businesses, beehives, that kind of thing. But right here in the United States of America, we had an economic development project up in Detroit called Launch Detroit, where they did micro lending to revitalize inner city Detroit, and it got reapplied to Launch Atlanta and Launch Raleigh, North Carolina. And if you can't make a decent living and keep a roof over your head, it's pretty hard to keep peace in your family, in your communities. So that economic development, where everybody has a right to earn a good living, to take care of their family, is extremely important. And then, of course, the latest one we've added is supporting the environment, because we only have one planet. And we know that with increasing temperatures and increasing drought, that we continue to have movements of people out of Africa and other parts of the world, and with sea rising, that kind of thing. We need to make sure we get trees planted, we support what is there, use the right technology and the right fuels here that don't pollute the environment, and support solar and wind and other areas here that help us protect the environment, as well as the agriculture out there. On the global grant side on peace, we look at some here. These are examples of some grants that really tie in with peace. One of those is fighting human trafficking. In fact, in our own district that our club, eClub of World Peace, is involved with now, is putting together a global grant that will teach school children, teachers and school children, on how to protect themselves from human trafficking. And we're looking to educate 500 teachers and over 50,000 students in Riverside and San Bernardino counties in Southern California to take on human trafficking. But this is a big issue. It's a big issue around the world, in every country around the world. It's not isolated any one place. But we can make a difference because there is training, there are groups out there, and our solutions. And so if you want more information on those, please reach out to me. Mediation training. We know that a lot of fights happen because one person has and one doesn't have, and it's a give and take issue. But we know that if we can mediate, so it's not a one person wins, another loses, everybody wins, because you come together and come up with a third solution that's better than the one you had, that either one had, and that's part of mediations. And so we have training we can put in there. In fact, that training is being done with Mediators Beyond Borders, and they put on training even for women in war zones in Africa, and how to mediate solutions to conflict. And we find that women are better peace builders than men. And so we'll stand back and help make sure we support the women with the talents and skill set they need to do that. And we'll continue to support them, as well as learning training on our own. We'll get to Positive Peace Workshop in a minute, but that's one of the areas that you can support is to train people in peace and how to create peace in your communities, and bringing together those positive pillars of peace that I'll cover here in a minute in a community, and certainly supporting Peace Corps projects. We know that in the United States, we have Peace Corps members all over the world. I believe they're being redeployed back out now. They had to come back home because of COVID-19, but we are in almost every country and territory out there with Peace Corps members doing major projects in villages and cities around the world. As far as smaller things you can do in your own hometown, in your own school system. Think about doing in your schools, in your middle schools or high schools, an anti-bullying training program. Children today are more bullied than ever before because of smartphones and the apps out there and the technology that are done electronically. It's very vicious, and you can save some lives and change some lives with anti-bullying training, anti-gang training. Train students, and protect themselves, and give them another reason to join something positive than joining a gang. Suicide prevention. Suicide is increasingly difficult and a serious problem, not only with our youth, but certainly with our veterans here in the United States. I'm sure as other parts of the world the same way. And so there are solutions to this with training and support out there that can work on suicide prevention. Child abuse and spousal abuse. Because of the lockdown here with COVID-19, we know that this has been difficult in these areas, but there are solutions out there. Children that suffer, to go through and see a parent strike another parent, live with that trauma the rest of their lives. And so they have their own trauma they're dealing with just from observing it, let alone them being abused. And so there's plenty of work there to do. Peer mediation. So instead of a teacher or the principal putting the penalty out for the student, have the students decide what the penalty be for that. They control their end here, and they get more involved. And all of a sudden, the conflict slows down because they're involved in the whole process. Peace literacy training help us learn the techniques to create peace in the world, and certainly we have many across the planet here. Our youth leadership camps that teach leadership skills to our students, as well as some of these other issues out there that help create peace. We have in Rotary we have a slew of, we call fellowships that you can join. And a couple of those that fill in under peace and conflict prevention is Rotarians Against Racism. This is a brand new one out there. And so we can work together in all our communities across the world here to take on racism, because it's in the United States, but it's in almost every country and territory on the planet. And so we have things to deal with out there, and we can come together with solutions that are working. Elimination of nuclear weapons. We know that that at any one time, if somebody pushes a button here, we destroy everybody on the planet. So it's extremely important that we learn to back these things down. In fact, there is a peace park being put in between Pakistan and India right now, being worked on for the two countries to come together to create peace in that region. And there's other works that are being done there to create friendships and bring those tensions down. And so together as Rotarians, we can help negotiate some of these things and help reduce tensions in these areas. We also have something in Rotary called action groups. And these are a few of those that fit into the peace area. Domestic violence prevention that I mentioned earlier. There's one called Peace. Slavery prevention, that's the one that takes on human trafficking. And a brand new one is refugees, forced displacement, and immigration. Because we know, although there's 30 million refugees right now because of conflict, within the next 5 to 10 years, there'll be another 30 million because of global warming and rising sea levels and areas where you can't grow crops because of no water for the soil. And so we need to come up with solutions for those. In the Rotary Action Group for Peace, you can be a peace builder Rotary Club and work on peace projects. You can connect with some of our peace fellows out there and other Rotary clubs that are peace builder clubs and learn what they're doing. Create your city as an international city of peace. David Wick is on here. He has that up as Culture of Peace Commission up in Ashland, Oregon. We have one in Ojai, California, but we have, I think there's about 300 around the world, international cities of peace. And once you proclaim that, you figure out how do you work together to improve the standard of living for everybody and make sure you get healthcare and housing and a variety of things out there that everybody in your city needs to create a city of peace. And of course, a Peace Patrol project that you could have out there that in your schools, a safe area for children to go to sit down and just talk together, or other communities out there that you stand for peace. These are the other groups I mentioned: the Action Group Against Slavery, Family Safety, and the Refugee one. One of the other things we have in Rotary is something called inter-country committees to create peace. And this I'm learning more about. And we have about 400 of those out there. The first one started in 1950. After World War II, Rotarians in France and Rotarians in Germany we're looking at a way that the two countries could come back together in friendship and understanding and heal the wounds from that awful war. And so together they did. And so the districts out there came together with a compact as an intercountry committee between France and Germany. And now today, like I said, there are about 400. Our E-Club of World Peace is involved with the Russia-USA Intercountry Committee. And we are part of that because we've been meeting online monthly with our Rotary clubs in St. Petersburg, Russia, and Vladivostok, Russia. In fact, we're about to be a sister club sponsor for a brand new Rotary club on peace in Vladivostok. And this creates understanding. When we get together and we can look at each other like we are today, online, and talk to each other, work on projects together, understand each other, know what's going on with COVID, on conflict, how we can help each other, projects we can work on, it creates peace in the world. And we, as I said in Rotary, peace is our foremost issue and goal here. We also have some other nonprofits that are partners with us around peace. I mentioned Peace Corps. They are a very integral part of our organization as a partner, and we participate with them on projects as they are out in the field in other countries in the world. Shelter Box, and I'll show something on them in a minute, is a big partner because they're handling and helping us with the refugee crisis, as well as natural disasters out there that are happening where people need shelter, water, cooking supplies. They've lost everything and they need to start over again as a family. The Institute for Economics and Peace is a think tank out of Australia, and it's developed a global peace index and positive pillars for peace and peace literacy program with us, and we are very closely aligned with them. Mediators Beyond Borders is a partner with us as well, and they're doing work around the globe, training mediators in a variety of countries in the world. In fact, they have a project recently in Ukraine, and certainly we know they're helping to ramp down the tensions in Ukraine and that area. And I think I mentioned women in some war zones in Africa, same way. But they do mediation training, which is a tremendous help to us, and they're connectors all over the world. And the Peace Corps, we support when our Peace Corps members go to another country, whether they're working with children, they're working on special projects over there. We want to know what they're doing and help and support their work. Shelter Box, for $1,000, you can send a shelter box wherever it's needed in the world. And it's not just, you don't send a box, but there actually somebody goes with it through the floods, the hurricanes, the natural disasters, carrying it by canoe, boat on their back, but they get it to the place where it's needed for a family to put a roof over their head. They show them how to erect it. They've got cooking supplies, water filtration, sleeping bags. There's all kinds of things in there for a family to help them get back into safety. And if you look at some of our refugee camps and you see the pictures, you might see some tents in there from the UN, but I bet you'll see some that say Shelter Box on the side. And that's why we're associated with Shelter Box, and because they deliver and do that work. And it's an amazing effort. And Mediators Beyond Borders, again, they train mediators to work in their communities, to create peace in their communities. They're the go-to people there, and it makes a huge difference out there. This happens to be the 2019. They just came up with the 2021 Global Peace Index, but the Positive Peace Index here shows the areas of the world that in these colors that are more peaceful than others. And certainly we can see Australia, New Zealand, Canada, US, we probably not quite that color today. We might have dropped to a different shade of blue. You can see up through Europe and Scandinavia. But then you see some other parts of the world that are challenged with peace. Certainly a good part of Africa, in the Middle East, and Afghanistan and Pakistan. I mentioned those with our polio eradication efforts. And had we not had terrorism activity there, we would have already finished the job on polio, but we will finish it. But this rates the countries in a variety of ways, looking at peace and how peaceful it is. And then we ought to be able to go find out what can we do to fix the problem. And so that's why they have developed the positive pillars of peace. And these 8 pillars of peace for a community are how you create peace in your community. If you can create it community by community, then cities are peaceful, your counties are peaceful, your states, your territories, your countries are peaceful. And so you continue to work on these. Well-functioning government, equitable distribution of resources. There's not extremely poor and wealthy. Somewhere there's middle, where everybody is earning enough money to put food on their table and a roof over their head. There's free flow of information. So each of us is able to learn and educate ourselves and our families, and we understand what the truth and what to do in each area. Good relations with our neighbors. That's a neighbor next door, and those down the street, and those somewhere else in our community. A value on human capital. Each of us, I mentioned, has a vocation, and each one is valuable. Every human being has some knowledge that I don't have. And so each of us, when we share this and build that capital up, it has value, and make sure that's happening in our communities. Acceptance of rights of others, regardless whether you're tall or short, whatever color you are, whatever race, religion, you have to accept the rights of others. Each of us has a right to live in peace. Low levels of corruption and a sound business environment where you can support a new business coming in and sustain that business, support your family. I mentioned part of this was the IEP. They've also put together a group of positive peace activators to help take those 8 pillars and put those into effect. And so we have hundreds of these activators trained. In fact, we had an activator training at our last peace conference here in Ontario, California, in collaboration with us to train more people to get out in the field and put those in our cities. And so they're ready to go. And if you want more contacts with them, again, reach out to me. Because of IEP, we've got a Positive Peace Academy. You can go to our website as a Rotarian on Rotary.org and take peace literacy training. And they do workshops out in the field on this. The other thing that's a big in Rotary is our Rotary Peace Fellowships. And we have peace centers now around the world that are training professionals. These are folks that have already have a bachelor's degree, already have some field work in the peace arena, but I want to take it to the next level. And so we have 7 peace centers around the world working with universities in concert with the university to train in peace building and conflict resolution skills. And today we partnered with 7 of these. We believe this is our signature project out there as what we stand for in Rotary. And those 7, we happen to have one here in Duke UNC in North Carolina, University of Bradford in the UK, Uppsala in Sweden, the international one over in Japan, University of Queensland in Australia. Those are our programs that are our master's degree programs. Those are 2-year programs. These are full ride for all the students that go there. You'll see that we have a certificate program in Thailand, in Chulalongkorn, and in Makerere. We just opened one up in Uganda, and we just got a major foundation grant that in the next 3 years we'll be putting a new peace center, a certificate program somewhere in the Middle East or North Africa. And certainly that's an area that needs some work. And again, these graduates are out there when they come back out in the field, it's pretty amazing. Each year there's only 100 applicants that get accepted. So these folks are highly qualified people ready to come in and learn and take it back out in the field each year. And so this is extremely, these are the best of the best that Rotary is behind. And again, you notice for a master's program, they have to have not only bachelor's, but 3 years of work-related experience. So they're early in their career path. The certificate program, they have to have 5 years of experience. So it might be mid-career and they're wanting to take it to the next level. Since we started this program, over 1,400 alumni have come out of this. These are fully funded by Rotarian donations. Rotarians, each of us out there, that 1.2 million that invested in these 1,400 people out there to make a difference in our world, because we believe that much, that peace is that important to us. And, you know, again, there's 88% are working out in peace building or one of these other areas of focus when they come back from this. And this is kind of a map where they're populated around the world, where they're located from and where they went back home. And you see that quite a few here in North America, a few in South America. Europe is pretty heavy, Southeast Asia, and quite a few coming out of Africa. So we've got a good mix across the world here. And you saw some of those areas in the positive peace. Those are some areas, especially in Africa, we need some work out there. A little bit in South America and some other where in the Middle East and Afghanistan and Pakistan. So it's important we have these folks back out there doing great work out there. And you'll see here that 40% of them go back into a non-governmental organization, some nonprofit working on peace. And you know, you see 14% are working in a government agency, and then you see where the rest are. Some are teaching, research, and it goes around here. Some are actually working at the UN. and we have some in law enforcement. In fact, one of the leaders, one of our Peace Fellow graduates that's very involved is an Australian. He's a police officer. So it's not unusual to bring in and educate these folks on where the alumni are working today. This is a look at our E-Club of World Peace. I mentioned that we meet weekly online on Zoom, and at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, and it's an amazing group of individuals. We have, I think, right now we have 84 members in our Rotary Club, and we represent, of course, U.S., Canada, Jordan, Israel, Haiti, and then all the way down to Australia with our members. And we continue, and I mentioned Canada probably, we continue to pick up more members. Each of our members are associated some way with peace building. And so in their own right, they're experts in peace. So we learn from each other every day as we put our club together. And we would love to have you come visit us. You can go to rotaryeclubofworldpeace.org. Go and visit our website. You'll see recordings up there. You'll see upcoming weekly speakers. And then you can also from there click on to send me a message at contact@rotaryeclubofworldpeace.org. And so if you click that button for contact, that message will come to me and I'll answer you back. This is, again, I believe in our club in peace building. We are working on actually 3 global grants ourselves in our club here. One is working on a vision project in India. Another global grant is working on increasing hospitals for those in need in Bangladesh. And then we're working on a grant right here in Southern California to take on human trafficking here and help save our children from being caught up in trafficked, whether that's online or in person. And so many extremely important things. And we share a variety of opportunities out there. One of our members is working on a project with police. She has an organization called Police to Peace, turning them into peacemakers and how to work together and connect with the communities better and really represent the community and take care of the community and develop a stronger relationship out there that helps reduce conflict in our communities. But all of our members are associated some way with making a difference here in the world and are doing that. And I know that each of you probably listening today in your own way, why you're listening is because you're interested in making a difference in the world, making the world a positive place, or you would like to join an organization that is making a difference in the world. And I welcome you to visit us and join anytime. I mentioned that I believe that Rotary is the most respected, recognized humanitarian organization in the world today, in every country and territory. And if you have an issue anywhere in the world, find a Rotary Club. You'll probably see a sign somewhere in your village or town coming into those. If you need help, raise your hand. They'll be there to help you. But each of us as human beings, we are one planet here, one humanity. Let's reach out together, embrace each other. When we say, how are you doing? Don't expect an answer back. Oh, I'm doing well. Ask the next question. Are they really doing well? Why are you doing well today? Make sure they are. Talk to people, but practice listening, active listening, and learn from each other. Don't just look, see what people are going through. Don't just listen, hear what people are going through, and be part of the solution here that creates peace for each of us in all of our relationships, whether it's at the supermarket, it's in your own family, wherever you are in your community. We have the power to create peace in the world, and together, that should be our mission as one humanity here, to help each other to be a peaceful planet so that all of us, all of our children, all of our grandchildren can grow up in a world that's peaceful, they can prosper, they can build a life for themselves and enjoy this beautiful planet that we all live on. Thank you very much.